There is one surefire way to skew the chances of a good marathon in your favour. It's controlling the controllables and consistent training. There are two surefire ways to skew the chances of a good marathon in your favour, but let's focus on controlling the controllables. For calmness of mind and then the ability to focus on only the race, we like to know everything we think we need to know about a race. In this case, New York City Marathon. Where the expo is, where the bag drop is, how far our hotel is from the bus pickup, what the course is like after the race, the whole 9 yards. And by knowing it ahead of time, it calms our mind for the day. Race day focus. So here are the 10 lessons that we learned from the New York City Marathon that we think can help future runners of the race, but also future runners of any race. First of all, as we make this video, I probably need to explain I've just spent about 40 hours in an aeroplane over 4 days, so I've totally lost my voice, but it actually feeds in quite nicely to point 1, lesson 1 that we learned, and that is that you have to give yourself enough time. If you're going to run a big marathon, especially if you're in a different time zone to where that marathon is, give yourself ample time to acclimatise, get over jet lag, let your voice recover.
And enjoy everything that comes with the event as well. Obviously, you've got to work within your limitations. We were really limited this time, but if you can, build in more time, because we would have loved to have done more beforehand, go for a shakeout run, take part in the 5K on the Saturday. So if you can, make the most of it.
Yeah, don't end up like me and just completely lose your voice. I'm not saying we didn't have an amazing time. What we're just saying is that we could have had a better time had we been a bit more relaxed about it. We just weren't able to at that point.
Yeah.
But it was still a fantastic time that we had.
Amazing.
And
the best.
Yeah, and we were probably on the far ends of the issues because our time zone is 12 hours different from New York, so of course not everyone's going to be in our kind of situation, but just make sure you give yourself enough time.
Yeah.
Now, once you've landed, once you're starting to acclimatise, you probably need to know about the day and the day before. And the first thing we learned is that the expo, where you go and collect your race number and you can buy t-shirts like this and all of that, it's not where the bag drop is to leave your clothes for after the finish.
Yeah.
And that is not where the Midtown bus picks you up from in the morning. So you need to do a bit of strategic planning in terms of your hotel and how you move around in the day.
Yeah, our hotel was pretty good because it was quite central, and the most important thing for us was the hotel was by the Midtown bus for the race morning. Also, the expo opens on the Thursday, I think, so you have got time if you've got more days to get around, but it does take time to get to different places.
Yeah, we had to go to the hotel, walk to the expo, which was like 20-25 minutes, taxi to the taxi to the bag drop, and then taxi back to our hotel ready for the morning, and then we walked to the Midtown bus. So there's a little bit of faff. You need to be prepared for that, but as Mary said, if you have days in advance, then it's much more manageable.
Third point, be prepared. It's really cold early in the morning in New York in November. I think my face went purple. And it took about 10k to come back to normal colour into the race.
What you don't realise is that at the start line you can take clothes to keep warm and then you can recycle them essentially. I think they give them to charity.
Yeah,
so
it's all clothing donation bins.
Yeah, if you've got old clothes, whatever you need to keep warm in the morning, because the worst thing would be for your performance to deteriorate because you're too cold.
Yeah.
And we saw people sitting there in the freezing cold, shivering with not appropriate clothes. So don't feel like you have to turn up to the start line with just your race gear on. We took a hoodie, we took tracksuit bottoms, Mary even had a hat on.
Yeah, they were giving out hats, like fleecy hats that most people were wearing, but people had turned up in dressing gowns, pyjamas, boiler suits, like really good creative ideas of things that they didn't need. They were happy to donate. So whatever you need to keep warm, take it. It can be donated, but look after yourself before the race.
Yeah, it was about 9 degrees, so we did the right thing.
Yeah. Also, before the race, it's really important that you're prepared with your breakfast. We know that a good breakfast is vital on race day, but you're gonna be at that start line for hours. So you need to take stuff with you because you'll need to eat in that window when you're waiting there at Staten Island.
We like to eat like 2 hours before, and of course we got there 3 hours before.
Yeah.
So what we did was we took our own breakfast because bagels are on offer, but we don't eat bagels. I never eat bagels.
Free bagels.
No, I didn't even eat one. We took we took porridge oats, we took banana, and we took yogurt, and we bought a bowl, and we kind of made it and ate it while we were there.
Yeah.
And that was enough for us, and it was at the right time. You have to know your body. Some people like to eat a little bit earlier, some people a little bit later, but we wanted to stick to what we know, how we train, how we do things.
Yeah, what we've practiced was really important, so you've got to be ready for that.
Yes, and it comes back to what we say all of the time anyway, nothing new on race day. Why would you have a different breakfast on the day of one of the most important races of your life? Take what you like, take what you know, take what your body knows. Now you probably need to be aware that the first kilometre or even mile of this race is a gradual uphill climb over the Verrazano Bridge. So what you need to do is you need to adjust your pace accordingly and be okay with that. Like, I was thinking I want to run 4-minute kilometres. I ran up the bridge in 4:15s, totally happy, because what happens is on the other side is pretty steep and you go fast and you will catch up that time without much effort.
Yeah, I think I was about 25 seconds slower for the first kilometre than my planned pace, but I easily made it up over the next two or
kilometres,
three.
yeah.
And I think for me it was actually good to reel me in at the start and like stay calm and know I'm going uphill, take it easy. It's big crowds at the beginning anyway.
Yeah.
And yeah, being okay with that is good. It helps you to make a good start.
Be conservative, you'll be fine. All right, a tip I picked up from London and I bought into this because it was so invaluable in terms of keeping me going is get your name on your vest. If people know your name and you're around people that don't have names on their vest, they're gonna call you out, they're gonna cheer you, and it gives you an extra power up.
Mary, hey girl!
Look at that, look at that. You know, and also a little bit of shameless promotion. We had that on the back as well.
Actually, because that was on the back, so many runners that overtook me or came up to run by me were like, hey Mary, like, love this messy happy, and it was amazing. I met so many people on the course and before and after, and I think, yeah.
It does make a difference. It does give you power, and I genuinely believe that. If you are in a low moment and someone says, come on Ben, you can do this, it makes a difference, and it's quite humbling that someone would give their time to cheer you specifically, having not ever met you before, a complete stranger sometimes.
Yeah, actually for me, the pacer, the 320 pacer was using my name. He was like, come on Mary, you can do it, hold your form, you're looking strong, and it does make such a difference when it's your name being said, and it really did motivate and encourage me. So you were right about London.
Now, the support at the New York Marathon is some of the best, if not the best in the world. I'm a little biased because we're from England, so I love the London Marathon. But the fact is, it is intense almost all the way and sometimes can be a little overwhelming.
Yeah, I was actually worried about that before we went because I tend to like peace and quiet, and I was worried about how I would react to all the noise, all the cheering. But I actually loved it for most of the race, but it got a little bit tricky at the end, I think.
Yeah, I think where it got hard for me was I like to, if people are calling my name, I like to try and thank them, or I like to give them some kind of nod that the fact that they've done something so nice as to cheer me. Last 5k, I literally was just dragging a carcass around with no soul in it for, you know, trying to get to the finish line, and people are shouting my name because, as we said earlier, we've got our name on our bib, and all I can muster is kind of like a
Yeah, you don't want anyone to know your name at that point.
I'm like, oh, I wish I could take the name away, because I just want to go, thank you, yeah, thanks for supporting us. I had nothing to give. But that's that's on me getting it wrong. That's not on people supporting and cheering our name.
Yeah. I think I actually love the crowds way more than I thought, and they were unreal. But you've got to be prepared for that.
Yes, and there are moments of quiet, so you can just enjoy those when they come.
Yeah.
But you signed up for the New York Marathon, right? It's gonna be intense, but it
wild.
is amazing.
Yeah. Okay, hydration on the course is really good. There's loads of water stations, but you need to be aware that it's in cups. Luckily, paper cups.
Yeah, in Bangkok and in Thailand in general, a lot of the time they're in water bottles.
Yeah.
And it's quite easy to drink from. But cups, if you've ever tried to drink from a cup, it's really difficult to get that fluid on board.
Just goes over your face.
Yeah, so the first few I'd actually forgotten this technique, so I'm glad I remembered it, because the water was going everywhere over me. I looked like a mess. But then we realised the technique that we'd learned to be able to get the water in much better than I was doing, which is what?
Basically, you pinch the cup and it creates a little funnel so you can just drink it.
As soon as I did that, it was like, oh yeah, Why wasn't I doing? I had water everywhere. As soon as you pinch the cup, you can just drink it in a funnel, in a V shape. Makes it so much easier to take on board.
Yeah.
And then you'll get your hydration in your mouth, not on your face. But there are plenty of opportunities to hydrate. That's the good thing on the course.
Yeah. And Gatorade as well.
And the penultimate point is, it's very important that we put this across, it is not a flat course. You need to prepare accordingly. Of all of the marathon majors, I believe it's probably the most difficult in terms of undulation. I think Boston has a little bit more of climb, but much more downhill.
Yeah.
It caught us both out, even though we knew it was coming. The uphill at the start, fine, right?
Yeah.
But when you're on your limit in a marathon anyway, and you're 5 kilometers to go, and then you are dragging yourself up the side of Central Park thinking, I never knew this hill was even here.
Yeah.
Then
tough.
you realise that maybe if you can train appropriately, and of course we live in Bangkok, is flat, is very difficult. We have a treadmill where we can do a bit of that, but it's not the same thing.
Yeah. And I would say as well, like, use that to adjust your expectations, because loads of people have said to us, I can't believe you got a PB on that course. And like, yeah, I think that's true. It is a tough course. Like, luckily we were in a good position, but maybe if you've run other more flat races, like, have the expectation that it's going to be a tough course to show your absolute best on.
And maybe dial it back just a tinch at the start, just to make sure you got something for the end. You still tired, Mary? The last point is that once you've finished, once you've run that 42.2 kilometers or 26.2 miles and your legs are done, the walk after the finish line to get out of Central Park is about a mile.
Yeah, it's really far.
It's really far.
I think when I've done marathons before, I've totaled about 50,000 steps on the day, but I was up to like 56,000 and we were still ages from our hotel.
Yeah, and it's not an unpleasant walk. I'm not saying that, you know, you get to walk through Central Park, but just be prepared for that, because actually it caught me off guard that I would have to walk so far until I could meet Mary, and you had to get out of the park. So I walked with someone that I went to primary school with, weirdly, Julian, and we chatted all the way that made it past. But you know, if Mary wasn't running the marathon and I didn't arrange a kind of meet point, it does get a bit chaotic after you get out of the park. There are monster crowds waiting around every corner, and you just got to be prepared for that, because ultimately, if you don't have a plan in place to get to someone that you want to meet, and you know where you're going to meet them, it could probably be quite stressful.
Yeah. Get a clear meet point, know your thing, and expect it to take time.
Yes. We didn't get home for 3 hours after the race, so just be prepared for that.
Part of that was because we were sat like two zombies at the side of the road.
We were sat like this. For a long while, I don't think we talked to each other. If this video helped you in any way, then consider subscribing to the channel, but there will never be a hard sell. And if you liked the video and could bear my voice for all of it, then you're probably going to like these 2 videos, which was my race experience and Mary's race experience of this very race in the year 2023.
And thanks for all your support on the videos. It's been amazing. What a week. I want to do it all again, so I'm going to watch the video.
So thanks for watching. We'll see you next Sunday.